All right, welcome to Halitics. I'm Hal Ginsberg. So glad to be talking to you today. It is what? It is Tuesday. What's that actual date? You know, that July 23rd. And I've been gone for, well, this is the 7th day since I stopped live streaming. So 7th weekday. So I missed 6. I missed all of the previous week and then yesterday as well. So sorry about that, folks. I did get away, and we'll talk a little bit about that very, very quickly, where I was, what I was doing. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll know because I posted there, and one of my friends from Halitics commented. I think I may have posted in Halitics as well, an image, and that's going to play a role in today's program. The focus is, I guess, the theme will be Kamala Harris. She is almost certainly now going to be the Democratic nominee. I don't have as many slides as I often have, to be frank. I'm tired, man. I'm worn out. I flew in this morning from Reno, Denver, to Baltimore. I got into Baltimore a little before, I don't know, 5:40 a.m., my wife said. So it's noon. It's a little afternoon here. I've been up for 3 or 4 hours, went back to sleep, and then I decided I really wanted to do the live stream. I wanted to do it early today, too, because I want to be able to take the afternoon off and relax a little bit, hopefully get a good night's sleep. Plus, this is so important. You know, it's a real change over that week that I was gone with Joe Biden, genocide, old genocide, demented Joe stepping down. I use that phrase to describe him, and some people really didn't like it. I don't really get it. He is old, he is demented, and he is certainly complicit in the Israeli genocide of Gazans. So I don't know why using the term or the expression or the moniker old demented genocide Joe would upset anybody, right? I mean, I guess if you're a supporter, if you're diehard, if you're a family member, if you have a job in government or a cushy appointment because of Joe, you might not like it, but this program is about everyday Americans. This program is for the average voter, and it's designed for us to work together to solve the problems that we face as a nation. Joe Biden was a problem. Joe Biden is a problem. Is Kamala, she has been a problem in the past. Could she be a solution? I'm going to say something that may surprise many of you. I have not completely 100% ruled out voting for Kamala Harris, as I had ruled out voting for, old demented genocide Joe. His actions when it comes to what I believe are the two most critical issues we face right now, confronting the Israeli genocide in Palestine and the climate cataclysm. His actions have greatly worsened, right? I mean, he's responsible in large part for the genocide, and he has exacerbated the climate catastrophe. So if somehow Kamala can present sincerely, persuasively, intelligently a plan in the Kamala Harris administration to address these problems, to stop what Israel's doing, which really shouldn't be that hard. Certainly to stop our complicity in what Israel's doing. That should not be hard at all. Just stop sending arms. Just end it right now. You have great latitude when it comes to foreign powers as president. Just stop sending them any military weaponry whatsoever. So that's not out of her power. The climate catastrophe, yes, that would be, certainly we're the first among equals when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions. But she can't stop it, but she could certainly stop in many of the actions that we are doing that will make it worse as we move forward. And it's gotten to be clearly a existential issue. While I was gone, I didn't really keep track of this. Every live stream I do for the past, umpteen months, I start with the genocide in Gaza. I think that is the issue that we have a moral imperative first to address. And the problem has gotten, it continues to get more awful, more horrific. So this is from today's Anadolu Ajansi, which is the Turkish media, and they report now the death toll rising to 39,090, with Israel killing 84 more Palestinians just in the past 24 hours. And, I, again, wasn't following this. I assumed that Israel was continuing to kill Gazans in extraordinarily high numbers while I was away. But frankly, I couldn't bear to be constantly looking at newspapers and, Googling like I do for this live stream to get the numbers for you. But I do want to do a quick comparison. So we now have, according to Anadolu Ajansi, the Turkish media aggregate, Turkish media, we have over 39,000 dead. And that does come from the Palestinian Authority. So we know that number, if anything, is an undercount. In fact, it is an undercount. The total number of dead is higher. We just don't know how much higher. This is something that's been shown over and over. Those who take issue with the figures that the Palestinian Authority provides often will claim, well, we can't trust them, those numbers aren't reliable, and we know they're not. We know they're too low. We know that the number of dead is much higher because they just can't count them. They just can't count everyone who's Israel's killed. Israel's a remarkably efficient killing machine right now. And the authority just doesn't know everyone that Israel's killed. It really disappoints me, too, that people, I don't know, they are always looking, it seems to me, for reasons to not accept just how awful what Israel is doing. They're always, people say, well, it's a tragedy, it's sad, but it's not just Israel's fault. Hamas uses human shields and this and that. I just don't get that. I do not understand that. Nearly 40,000 killed. This is the deadliest place on earth. These are civilians. And people make excuses. I do not understand. This, I told you, the latest number from Anadolu Ajansi, which comes from the Palestinian Ministry of Health, is 39,090. That slide I'm showing you now was the last slide I showed you before I went on my trip. And the number then, which was 8, 9, 10 days ago, Friday the 12th, July 12th, so what, today's 23rd, so 11 days ago, 38,340. So my math comes up with 745. Israel has killed 745 Gazans in 10 days. This is the moral challenge that we must confront. We have a moral imperative to stop this. And as I indicate, because Genocide Joe, current president, is responsible, right, as much as anyone except for the man who's coming to Washington tomorrow, Bibi Netanyahu, to speak to Congress, because Genocide Joe is the second most responsible person for the genocide, I will not vote for him. I would not vote. I could not vote for him. I could not feel like I was doing, I would be feeling like I was complicit in evil, true evil. I don't understand how anyone can see it different. I really don't. I just don't. The time is ripe for change. There is one candidate who's running explicitly on a change platform, and that is Jill Stein, and I endorsed her, versus Joe. Now, again, I mentioned I might possibly vote for Kamala. The reason I might vote for her is if I had the belief that she would, if president, do everything in the extraordinarily powerful position she would be occupying to stop the killing, to stop the murder of Gazans, the daily horrific count. So if this woman were able to provide powerful, convincing argument that she will stop the genocide, then everything else she's done in her history, which I find in many ways problematic, would fade. It wouldn't stop me from voting for her. But I'm not seeing the evidence that she'll stop it. I don't. Play a video for you in a little bit, which is, I guess, the best argument for her. I'm not seeing that evidence. This is what we have to stop. We have to not see this. We can't, this is from, I guess I got this meme. I'm absolutely certain it's legit. Nothing bogus about this. It's heartrending. People say, I've heard this. I hear this a lot. Oh, they hate women. It's a medieval society. Islam is a hateful religion. Every large group, every cohort of people has good, bad, and indifferent people. Muslims are no better nor worse than anybody else. I flew back from Reno, Lake Tahoe was where we were, Reno, to Denver, to Baltimore. And on the Denver to Baltimore leg, and we were seated in the very last row, couldn't recline, it was very uncomfortable, didn't get a lot of sleep, exhausted right now. There were 3 kids, and they looked to me like they were probably Arab, probably Palestinian. I don't know that for a fact, but that was their general look. And they were with their dad. I wasn't paying a lot of attention, but the father was very attentive. He let the 3 kids sit together. They were all doing really well, super well behaved. I think the age, they were twin boys, maybe they were 6, 7, I think, something like that. A little bit older daughter seated to their right. And the father was very attentive, very solicitous, right on top of them, but in a loving way. There was no mom there. And I mentioned this to my wife, and she said, yeah, the dad said to them as they were getting off the plane, mom is meeting us. So these are the people that Israel is killing. I don't know how anyone can not be on Gaza's side. I do not frankly understand. Hey, call me if you disagree. 240-28, what's the right number? 240-242-5646. 240-242-5646. And yet so many aren't on the side of Gaza. I don't understand that. And, Kamala's record is not good on this. It is not good. We'll get to that in a little bit. It's not good. But I'm slightly, the door's open just a crack for me to vote for her. If she can provide persuasive evidence that she will stop the killing or do what she can if she's elected to stop the killing by Israel. I mentioned that, and I'm going to get right back to that topic, it's crucial, but I want to just talk a little bit about where I was over the past week. So I was in Lake Tahoe, and I want to show you, this is an image I took. This is a picture from, I guess that's I don't guess, that is from the summit of Mount Talak. It's pretty much the entire lake, which is enormous. And it's a beautiful, I was really proud of this picture. I got a good picture. It was a tough climb. If you look, it looks really nice. You can see, 80 miles maybe. Maybe that's 80 miles to the mountains on the other side. So I'm looking as I take that picture. I guess I'm looking north by northeast northeast, okay? So I was at the southwest corner of the lake, and I'm looking north by northeast. And you can see almost the entire lake. But you know what? It's a little bit hazy. It's not that super clear, pristine look of the skies and the water, as you see in this picture. I didn't take this picture. I found this picture online. I don't know when it was taken. I'm going to guess 10 years ago. Look at how clear the air is. Look at how clear the water is. Now, you know, you're always going to get some variation. Folks, it doesn't look like this in Tahoe anymore. The water isn't that clear anymore. And I'll show you something else that isn't going to look like that in summer. This is a summer picture. This is taken from the California website. I'll show you where I got that from in a little bit. But before I do, I just want you to compare. This is looking south. Okay, this is looking south. And the reason I say that is because the snow lasts longest. And you can see quite a bit of snow on those peaks. The snow lasts longest on the mountains, and you have the most snow year-round on the mountains that are south of the lake. And the reason for that is because the mountains south of the lake face north over the lake. If you're looking from the north side of the lake south, you're looking at the north side of the mountains. And that's the side that gets the least amount of direct sun. So therefore you get the most snow. I took a similar shot as to this one. I wanted to show it to you. So there it is, also from the north, same mountains. You can even tell if you look closely. Those are the same mountains. That's the California site. That's the Hal picture. Look at how much less snow. Look at how much less snow. This is, by the way, still July. The least amount of snow is August. So already there's virtually no snow on the peaks on the south side of the lake facing north. It's because of global burning. It's because of the climate holocaust. And California, the state of California, has very well documented how the temperature of the lake keeps getting warmer and warmer. And it isn't just, by the way, I'm not just relying on I'll talk about this in a second, but when I took those pictures, but this is human activity. It's doing tremendous harm to our environment, to our world. It's making everything uglier, grayer, dirtier, dustier, more miserable. So again, if Kamala somehow could persuade me that she is going to take on the climate holocaust, and I mean, right now, even, and that, you know, long term, from the standpoint of human survival, and we'll survive. I mean, some people are going to survive. The billionaire class will survive. But from the standpoint of a sustainable planet, a vibrant biosphere, probably global burning is a bigger issue holistically than the genocide of Gazans. From a moral standpoint, probably it goes the other way, although it's close. But I don't believe a society that endorses, supports, aids, and abets a genocide can take on a climate holocaust. I mean, I think that those go hand in hand. If we care about fellow human beings, if we care to stop our closest ally from murdering civilians at a rate of 75 plus a day, if we don't care about that, then I don't know how we care about stopping the utter destruction of our planet, the ecocide that we're currently engaged in. You can see that Lake Tahoe waters are warming in response to changing climate conditions in the Sierra Nevada. And I'll show you the chart, and then I have a anecdotal response also. So this is only through 22. And you'll see that, at least according to this chart, the warmest water temperatures, and that's according to this chart, and this only goes through 22, the warmest water temperatures were actually recorded in 2015. And then there's been a little bit of a slide back. We know the hottest years on record are 23, 24, and this chart doesn't include those. But it's gotten hotter and hotter since 2015. So why would it be that the warmest on record is 2015 in the water? Because of all the ice melt. Because so much snow and ice is melting that when it runs into the lake, it is at 32, 33 degrees, right? Just above freezing. It just melted. So all that melt has the short-term impact of keeping the water a little cooler for a little longer. But since almost all the snow now is gone, all the permanent snow is gone, that impact will be lost. And in fact, it may already be. You saw from the images I showed you that there's very, very little ice and snow now on the mountains around the lake. And usually you'd have to wait until August, to see the virtually, if you ever saw no snow, which we're almost at, it would have been in late August. But now it's in mid-July. When we climbed the mountain, I showed you this picture. I want to show this again. I'm going to get a comment too. When we climbed this mountain, I show you that's from Rifle Peak. It's actually not the top. We're actually a lot lower. You can see the trees. You wouldn't get as good a picture. I didn't get quite as good a picture from the summit. So this is from the trail up Rifle Peak, if you have any familiarity with the region. We at the summit, we being my wife and son, talked with a family that was also at the summit, a man, his daughter, and her boyfriend. And the man said he's lived in Tahoe for 20 years. The lake temperatures right now are hotter than they've ever been. At 73 degrees, he said, at the lake, it's never been that hot. Now, I can't confirm that. I didn't do any tests, and I haven't found, I looked for that information. What I'm telling you is the local, at least one local, says, I've never experienced this heat, this kind of warm water temperature in Lake Tahoe. It has tremendous negative impacts on the biodiversity there. The pika's gone. The pika is a little animal that's like a rodent. It's has a very thick coat of fur, which is good for high altitude cold climates, which Tahoe used to be. Not anymore. Pika's gone. So we're seeing very significant reduction in biodiversity already. And it's going to only get. So what I care about, I read all this. Oh, she'll be the first black woman president. Oh, she's South Indian descent. Oh, to me, those are just make-weight arguments. Those are just the way the elites, the billionaire class, the ones who continue to exploit what few resources remain, continue to consume them, leaving less and less for everyone else. That's the way they focus discussion on what doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what your president looks like. It doesn't really matter how they go to the bathroom. What matters is whether they will champion poor, struggling, and working people, whether they will fight genocide, whether they will stand up to the murderous billionaire class, both at home and abroad. That's what matters. I am so disheartened, even now, when I see so many posts from people, their Facebook, their friends with the quotes on Facebook, and they don't talk about her policies. I keep saying, well, you say she's going to be a great president. Why? What has she done that makes you think that? And I'm not asking the question to be a dick. I'm asking because I really want to know. She's gotten a record haul. The Washington Post just said, I am seeing so much support. You know, it seems like, could she win? Will she win? I kind of think maybe she could win, because it certainly seems clear that there was an extraordinary hunger, clearly, to get rid of old demented Genocide Joe. No question. And it's sort of, that also pisses me off in a way, because you saw so many memes on social media. Oh, he's a good person. He's this. He's a good family man. You know, before Biden withdrew, I'm not getting into all the discussion now. We maybe on another show talk about how I think Bernie and AOC totally embarrassed themselves by defending Biden until the very end, how they really, you know, hurt themselves, I believe, lost whatever, and they don't have much. But whatever political capital they might enjoy within the Democratic Party, they burned up for sure. But, you know, the same people who are saying, oh, she's, you know, I'm with her, and the pictures of her, you know, like the one I show in my It's Kamala. They've just given her this. Let's see, there it is. It's Kamala, right? So there you go. Doesn't have that. So that, like, very flattering. She's striding forward. She's a powerful, purposeful woman. She's going to, you know, give them what for in Washington. That's what that picture looks. I'm seeing all this, and the people who are so excited that she's running for office, they don't tell me why. I don't know why. You know, I guess it's I don't know. It's an identity. Is it just because you're hoping she can beat Trump? Is that it? Maybe. But there's no consistency. They're the same people who are loving her, who were telling you how great Joe Biden was and how you have to vote for him. Yeah. Could she win? Well, look, this is big. She's getting a lot of money. It's amazing. There's just was such desperation for an alternative to Biden, and there's so much fear and loathing of Trump, some of which is deserved and some of which is very unfair. You know, I would say that most of it was undeserving if he hadn't, you know, tried to stay in office after he lost. If he hadn't tried, you know, to cajole illegally elected officials to betray their constituents and not certify Joe Biden as the winner, even though Joe Biden was the winner. If Trump hadn't done that, I would say, look, the guy's a bad guy. The immigration policies especially were awful. Doesn't get global burning. But no new wars, really. The tariffs are on balance a positive. You know, I'd say, well, he's bad, but he's not George W. Bush bad, for sure. But, you know, I have to recognize that he's, you know, clearly tried to stay in power anti-democratically. That's terrifying to me. And you know, but the hatred, the Trump hatred antedates January 6th. It started before he was even elected. Long before. And, you know, you say, well, he's a sexual predator, this and that. Those are bad things. Those are bad. But is that like a shot? I mean, are the same people who are calling him a sexual predator and attacking him, and, you know, for that, were you going after Bill Clinton, who also clearly is a sexual predator? And my answer is both of them should suffer consequences. But we're electing a president. We're not electing a choir boy. And, you know, what matters most is if they're going to do good things for the people. Break the law, you're arrested for it, you should go to jail, no matter how good a president you are. If you're trying to feed your family, stay in your home, pay for medication for your kid, that's what you care about. And that's what we need to focus on as voters and when we try to persuade others. So can Kamala win? She can absolutely win. I don't think there's any question. I don't know if she will win. The honeymoon phase may drop out, but I see remarkable excitement for her. So maybe she'll win. I agree 100% with Joe Manchin, though. If it's only about Donald Trump and trying to demonize him even more, I don't think it's a winning solution. I think he's right. I don't know he's right. I really am astonished by so much, it seems to me, almost unthinking support for Kamala Harris that I see on social media. Just the love that's pouring out for somebody who, when I asked why, what did she do? Why are you for her? And there's just no answers except basically, but Trump. I don't think that's good enough. I'm sorry. We are living in a time of ecocide, of genocide, of endless war. There's a candidate out there who's really good. Her name is Jill Stein. Her policies are good. Is she perfect? No. But if she's out there, I don't think you can just vote for Kamala without at least inquiring, where does she stand on the existential threats that we face? So credit to, by the way, call me, 240-242-5646. I'm back. I'm here. I'm tanned. I'm rested. I'm ready. So I want to hear from you. I am going, I was looking, so am I live? Let me see. Let me pop out my chat. I am live. I don't know how many people are watching yet. I can't tell, but I'll see if I can figure that out. Live chat, all message. Okay, I blame the corporate press. This is from Shade. I blame the corporate press for attacking the lowest lying fruit. Joe was still fully able to serve, but couldn't overcome prejudice against his stuttering, DIB, and his aging that made it worse. Yeah, we disagree. I don't think he was. He clearly wasn't ready. I mean, he just wasn't. He's not. He just can't do it. He just clearly can't. He can't remember things. He stands there. He's not sure where he is, has to be escorted off stages. Come on, Shade. You know, I get, but this raises a good point. Look, he did win the Democratic primary. A lot of people say, well, he won it because Obama stepped in and all the all the other, the alternatives pulled out, except for Elizabeth Warren, and she was drawing support from Bernie. Look, that narrative, I understand it. You had a choice. You could have, in 2016, there was a choice, Hillary or Bernie. To me, it was obvious that Bernie was the only choice. It wasn't like you had a choice. You had a choice between a ham sandwich and a bucket of crap. And the Democratic voters chose the bucket of crap. Now, did the Democratic establishment do everything in its power to get you to choose the bucket of crap in 2016? Yeah, but you still chose it. You didn't have to. If you sniffed the air, you would have smelled that bucket of crap. You would have known that there was a ham sandwich that you could have eaten, but instead you chose a bucket of crap. So that's democracy. Very imperfect democracy. The same thing basically happened in 2020. The voters, the primary voters, the establishment did everything it could, promoted Pete to get him to be arguably the winner in the Iowa caucuses. And you know what? In South Carolina, the voters could have rejected corporatist, corrupt Jim Clyburn, but they didn't. Clyburn said, vote for Joe Biden, and South Carolinians did. And after that, that was it. It was over. Now, I know the media was telling you, you got to vote, you can't vote for Bernie. I know there was a million. The bottom line is, it was democracy. It was flawed democracy. It was a feeble, kind of flaccid democracy. But in the end, the Democratic primary voters chose another bucket of crap instead of, the Bernie sandwich was getting a little stale by 2020. Let's be honest. It wasn't that great. But it was better. It was more edible than anything else you could get. So this process has been very flawed in 2024. There were, who were the challengers? There were nobodies. They weren't good choices. I know some of you like Marianne Williamson. I don't understand that. Again, if you look at the issues, she wasn't very good, okay? If you look at the issues, she was clearly a Democratic apologist. She wasn't very good. And she was probably the least bad of the options. Biden won. He was the pick, not anybody else. And so you could say, well, it's not fair. Then if he's the loser, or if he's the winner, then why is it Kamala? She didn't even run. Well, she's the vice president. She probably would win a primary. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with her, but I have a problem with the fact that she's going to be the nominee. Yeah, there's some comments there. I just will say one thing. Just looking at this from Shade. You blame Joe for the divided government that he was forced to deal with? It's just amazing that he accomplished as much as he did. I don't do that. I hear that. And this is something I always say. I blame the presidents for the things they can do, that they don't do, and the things that they do that they didn't have to do. So with Obama, he didn't have to have free trade deals with Colombia, South Korea, I believe it was with, and Panama. He signed off on those. They did a lot of harm. Obama did not have to take out Gaddafi. He did. That caused a lot of harm. Obama didn't have to, commit to the drone program that made us all less safe and killed lots of innocent people, or vastly increased the surveillance state. That's what I blame him for. Things he had power to do. Making us the #1 producer of oil and gas. That's what I blame him for. Things he had power to do. Same thing with Joe. I blame Biden for the Mountain Valley Pipeline. He didn't have to prove that. He jammed it through Congress. I blame him for the Willow Creek project. He didn't have to approve that. He did. I blame Joe for all those oil and gas leases that the Department of the Interior approved. And I understand, well, the court said we have to. No, you tell your people not to approve them. Go to court on every single one of them. You could do that. You could have done that. Right? You could have done that. He didn't do that. I blame him for working with AOC and others in Congress to outlaw the railway workers' strike. He didn't have to do that. He did that. It's not because of divided government. It's because he did those things. This is, by the way, I want to be real clear. Yes, I might vote for Kamala Harris. I said it. I wasn't lying. I wasn't trying to be disingenuous or ingenuous or whatever the right way to phrase it. Yes, I might. And I'm going to play a video here from somebody who I think is going to vote for Kamala Harris. Well, I'm not sure about that. And somebody for whom never met her, don't know, only just learned of her existence today, I think, when I was prepping for this show. Lily Greenberg Call. She is the first Jewish Biden staffer or Biden administration staffer to resign over the pro-genocide in Gaza policies that Joe Biden has pursued. So let's listen to her on Kamala Harris, her former boss.
Path. And not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it's actually both the popular and politically savvy thing for her to do. At this moment, she needs to support an arms embargo to Israel. She needs to reject AIPAC's right-wing agenda, and she needs to use all of the U.S.'s leverage to broker a lasting ceasefire, a hostage exchange, and a meaningful status quo change in Israel-Palestine that means safety and a thriving future for all Palestinians and Israelis.
So I'll stop it there for a sec. So Lily Greenberg Call says what I believe, what I agree with, what Kamala Harris needs to do if she's president. broker a lasting peace, stop supporting Israel, push for a ceasefire right away. That's what she has to do. That's what Lily Greenberg Call says. She's an ex-Biden staffer who also, by the way, worked for Kamala Harris when she ran for president. So let's hear some more from what Lily Greenberg Call says. This is, by the way, Democracy Now!, really good segment.
And what is your sense that she would be willing to make that break from Biden policies, especially in the midst of a very shortened presidential campaign?
All right, so I've gone over why I'm skeptical, right? I've given you some reasons I don't believe she's likely to, meaning Kamala Harris is likely to break with Biden. Greenberg said, and I'm not going to go over those right now because, I'm getting towards the end of the show. If you want to call me, 240-242-5646, I will mention it. I'll go over it with you, but, well, you watch some of my previous programs. I explain exactly why I don't believe Harris will side with Palestinians, will break meaningfully with the pro-Israel uber-Zionist policies that Joe Biden pursues, and that Trump says he will as well.
Well, when I was in the administration, actually, I heard reports that she was pushing the president to pursue a more humane policy that complied with international law. She was the first administration.
Right, so Greenberg Call says, in response to a great question, what is your sense when you say this is what President Harris would need to do? Push for peace, stop supporting Israel with arms. So the question is, would she do that? And she says, well, I heard reports. When she was in the White House, she worked for Kamala. She says, Greenberg Call says, I heard reports. Not I heard her say. Not she told me. Not I read a memo from the vice president saying, hey, we got to reverse course. This isn't right. We can't be supporting this genocide. We're complicit. Blood is on our hands. So Greenberg Call doesn't have any first-hand knowledge that Harris was a voice for peace, was a voice to end the genocide. Greenberg Call has no first-hand knowledge. So I'm very skeptical.
Official to actually use the word ceasefire, albeit calling for a 6-week one, but there were actually some reports that
also, so she says, well, Greenberg Call says in support of Harris, which this is true, that Harris, because when she says I heard reports, we don't know if those reports were accurate. They're secondhand, thirdhand. Who knows what really was said behind closed doors. What Greenberg Call does say here that is accurate, though, is that Harris was apparently the first one in the administration to use the word ceasefire. So what? What is that? Biden said ceasefire. AOC has said ceasefire. They all keep voting for the arms to go to Israel. That's a nothing burger.
That was an effort by the president's staff to kind of water down her speech in Selma when she first called for a 6-week ceasefire. So, it's really disappointing to...
Right, so she says she heard... I want to play that again because this was a big deal, allegedly. Harris back in, I don't know, was it January of this year, gave a speech in Selma, Alabama. It was a civil rights event, historical civil rights event, criticizing Israel, but she was very muted in her criticism. Very, yes, Israel was attacked. Yes, Israel has to defend itself. Yes, Israel has a right. We can't really second guess Israel, but probably it'd be nice if there were fewer deaths. So here's what Greenberg Call says about
albeit calling for a 6-week one, but there were actually some reports that was an effort by the president's staff to kind of water down her speech in Selma
reports by the president's staff. Again, Greenberg Call doesn't know this. Nothing firsthand. Nobody told her. Harris, someone she worked with directly, didn't call her up, and apparently Greenberg Call didn't see the need to call Harris. And I don't blame Greenberg Call for not calling Harris, but again, it's all secondhand. I want to hear this from Harris. I want Harris to say, yeah, you know what? Joe's great. He gave me my he gave me, the office, right? Working with him, blah, 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 learned a lot. But yeah, on that Israel-Palestine, man, he's just wrong. Wrong. I want to hear that from Harris. If she wants my vote, that's what she has to say.
She first called for a 6-week ceasefire. So, it's really disappointing to think that potentially the president and the president's staff were not only not listening to the majority of the American people and voters, but to his own vice president. I believe that she would be, more amenable to breaking with Biden on Israel and Gaza. And again, I also think.
So she says, I believe she would be more amenable. She doesn't, again, provide the evidence from which we can conclude that. All that said, I'm just explaining why I'm skeptical. This is why I'm not jumping on the Harris bandwagon. This issue is so important to me. This is a litmus test. If you support Israel, I don't support you. If you support Israel in its genocidal activities, I don't support you, period. I will not vote for you, period. End of story.
I think she has to, right? Over 700,000.
All right, so then she's just going to say political. She's going to get into a political discussion there. We'll just leave it about why she believes, Lee Greenberg Call believes that it's good politics for Harris to break with Biden's very, very tight with Israel policies. Sadly, I don't know that she's correct about that. Maybe. But it could hurt Biden just as much as help. I mean, it could hurt Harris too. I hate to say that. I wish it weren't so. But there are a lot of voters out there, and they vote. There are a lot of affluent voters, and they vote based on Israel. They think you're insufficiently tight with the Israeli regime, if they think you're a little too skeptical about the morality of Israel, they're not going to vote for you. So I understand Michigan is really a state that Biden could have lost, and Harris could possibly lose too because of the pro-Israel policies. But there's a lot of voters. Look, Pennsylvania elected Josh Shapiro is a really popular governor. He's super pro-Israel. He's super Zionist. And that's Pennsylvania. That's a state that Biden needs. So it's kind of unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't see things the way I do and the way that Greenberg Call does. I'm not sure if that Harris has to break with Biden on Israel for her to win. But I can guarantee you this. She has to break with Israel and Biden on Israel for me to vote for. All right, that's going to do it for today's program. Shade, thank you so much. PT, thank you so much for your comments. Really, really, really appreciate them. Didn't get to all of them. Glad I did get to see some of them. I should be back tomorrow. It's possible, maybe not. I might protest Bibi, but it's going to be hot and I'm tired and I don't know that I will. But if I do or if I don't, I should still be on tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.